Grandfather's penny. Once upon a time, so long ago, there were no automobiles or telephones. Grandfather was a little boy named John. He lived in a wee red farmhouse set in the middle of wide fields. There were woods all about and only a cow patch across the meadows until you came to the road. In the summer, Grandfather used to have just the best time, for he knew the places where the biggest blackberries hid. He could find patches of checkerberries in the woods. He knew where the brook ran swiftest to sail his boat. He could climb the tallest apple tree, but in the winter it was quite different. Then Grandfather wore his little cap made of coonskin and a bright green muffler and a homespun suit and a pair of hide boots. It was always very cold in the country in the wintertime, and Grandfather had to walk 2 miles to the schoolhouse with his little tin dinner pail hung over his arm. When school was let out, he must hurry home to help with the chores. There were kilings to split and the cows to feed, and past to dig, and night he was a tired little John. He climbed upstairs to bed in the attic, where the walls were hung with strings and dried apples. There was no heat there, and he was very cold little boy until he had snuggled under the warm blanket and patchwork quilt. One winter morning, when Grandfather woke up and jumped into his clothes and hurried down to the kitchen, he found a dreadful thing that happened. The fire in the fireplace has gone out overnight. Nobody could kindle it, for they had no matches in those days, and the tinder box was lost. The water in the tea kettle was ice. There could be no breakfast until the fire burned once more. "You'll have to take a lantern, John," said Great-Grandfather, "and go to Mr. Stone's for a light." "I'm sorry, little lad. Pull your cap down tight over your ears and hurry." So Grandfather took the big brass lantern and hurried off in the early morning across the snowy fields for a light. It was too biting cold that not even the rabbits were out, and Grandfather's toes ached. He had to blow on his fingers to keep them from freezing, and it was a mile to Mr. Stone's. But he got there at last, lighted his lantern and Mr. Stone's fireplace, and carried it home very carefully, lest the flame go out. Then Great-Grandfather started the fire, boiled the water and go out. Then Great-Grandmother started the fire, boiled the water in the tea kettle, and they had breakfast. When the kitchen was warm and breakfast was over, Great-Grandmother went to the blue china pitcher on the chimney piece. She took out a big copper penny. "This is for you, John," she said. "You had a long walk to this morning. You may buy yourself a peppermint candy stick." Oh, how Grandfather's eyes shone. Pennies were scarce in the little red farmhouse. He knew how beautifully red and twisted the peppermint candy sticks looked in the glass jar at the store. He had wished for one all winter. So he started out early for school, skipping along with his penny held fast in his little red mitten. The snow was deep, and Grandfather had to wade through the drifts and climb over the fences. One snowbank was too high, and it came up to his waist. But he didn't mind. There was a stone at the crossroads, and Grandfather opened his little red fist to look at the penny. But where was it? The penny was gone. Grandfather had dropped his penny in the high snowbank. Poor little boy. All the morning, as he sat on the hard bench in the schoolhouse saying his ABCs and doing math books in his copybook, he had to squeeze back the tears. When he went home, great-grandmother said she was sorry, but there were no more pennies in the blue china pitcher. She didn't know when he could have another. So Grandfather took his shovel and dug around the snowy bank, but he could not find his penny. The winter was very long, but one day the red-winged blackbirds came back to sing in the south pasture. The song sparrows twisted in the swamp. The violets blossomed, and it was spring. Grandfather laid away his coonskin cap and began making willow whistles. He forgot all about his penny. One morning he took a basket of eggs to the store to trade them for sugar and tea. He went the same way that he had gone that winter morning, and he was just as happy as he skipped along down the road. "Here's a place where the big snowbank was," he said, "right in this fence corner. But it's all melted now. Why? Here's my penny. Yes, there it was, sticking up out of the mud, not bright and shiny anymore, but good copper penny, just the same. All winter it had been waiting there for Grandfather to take it to the store and buy a peppermint candy." And this is a true story of how Grandfather bought his penny peppermint stick after all. And this is the reason why Grandfather gives you so many pennies, because he remembers how he was a little boy once with only one. The end.